to In the Library with
Tara
and Adrian. This is the In the Library podcast for the Monroe County Library System, and this is being recorded on January 16th of 2025.
2025.
So how are you this morning?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Had my coffee. I'm halfway awake. Kids had a half day at the Bedford High School, so they're here at the library.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're recording live in the Bedford Local History Room. Do you notice anything different in here?
That we have an extra friend?
Well, we do have an extra
That
friend.
we can actually sit at this table because it's not piled high with all of your special piles that you say are in an order.
That is correct. If you haven't been to the local history room lately, I invite you to come and check it out and notice that it is no longer completely covered in boxes of papers. It is all thanks to the hard work of our dedicated volunteer, Sally Bouton.
Bless you. Said it was organized chaos.
So what is it we're here to discuss today?
Where the wild things are.
And where are they?
They're in your imagination.
It's a good thing I had that surgically removed when I was young.
Oh, see, I just live in mine permanently.
For our listeners who are not aware, or may have not thought about it in a while, Where the Wild Things Are is a 1963 children's picture book written and illustrated by American author and illustrator Maurice Sendak.
So, I am glad that we did this because I have had the DVD for like 5-6 months now, and I keep meaning to watch it, and this finally gave me the reason to do so. It was very interesting because I haven't read the book since I was little. And so I watched the movie and then I went back to the book. And I didn't realize how unsatisfying that book was. I remember liking it when I was little.
It's true. And she mentioned the DVD. For our listeners who are not aware, Where the Wild Things Are has been adapted multiple times.
Multiple?
Mm-hmm. There was an animated short film in 1973.
Huh.
There was a 1980 opera.
Ooh,
and then the live-action 2009 feature film by Spike Jonze.
And it was produced by Tom Hanks. Saw that in the credits.
Was in fact produced by Tom Hanks.
Have you seen any of those adaptions?
I did have to watch Where the Wild Things Are 2009, Spike Jonze, specifically for this particular podcast, as it were.
So that's the only one I knew existed. So I watched that. And I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Personally, I'm very positive about it. I do like the film, but it's a kid's book, and I do feel like this is a children's movie. But I know that my nieces wouldn't pay attention to it. It's very slow getting into it. It's got an indie feel. It's slow getting into it. I really liked it, but I can't see kids enjoying it.
Well, I will say that this one definitely harkened back, if I can reference the Polar Express.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't think there was enough in the actual book, and they had to pull some stuff out to make it into a larger movie.
Which I like what they created. I thought it was very interesting.
I will say, and this is just a personal thing, I realize this will only apply to me and no one else, but I always get surprised when I see Mark Ruffalo in anything.
But it was funny because he's barely in it, and you don't even I don't know if you really see his full face or not, because I was like, is that Mark Ruffalo? And then all of a sudden he's gone, and I'm like, what just happened?
It's just, I know that he's an actor and he's been acting for a while.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised when I see him in anything. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's a guy. He does things.
He's an actor. He's in more than just the Avengers. I do like him a lot. I think he's a very good actor. I really liked how true they stayed to the monsters in the book. They really did just bring those to life. They have all the same details, and I thought it was very interesting.
It is interesting. They certainly didn't try to make them any more realistic than needs be.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, this is what Maurice drew. This is what we're going to include. I will say that everything being made of sand was an interesting choice,
Yeah.
because I don't believe that featured in the book at all.
No, but the book is very short. So in the book, it's all in his imagination, which this kind of is as well. I liked what they added to it though, because like in the book, like he gets mad at his mom, he gets sent to his room, and then he creates this whole world, and then he decides all of a sudden out of the blue, he's like, and I'm done, and I'm going back to my room, and that was the whole thing.
He was hungry.
He was hungry, and his food was magically waiting for him. But I did appreciate that they added more to it and made it like they gave him a reason to be upset and had him run away from home.
Well,
But like everything down to his onesie that he wore, like his pajamas, like was perfect. And I really want those wolf pajamas. I need to get my own version.
I will say, and I don't know if you were aware of this, the book was originally going to be Where the Wild Horses Are, and it was going to be about horses. But Maurice realized that he didn't know how to draw horses, and he just started drawing things and went from there.
So, not gonna lie, I can't always tell when you're being truthful or not.
No, this is entirely true.
That is?
This is entirely true.
Huh.
He realized while he started illustrating it that he could not draw a horse, and he abandoned the idea for horses and just made them into things.
That is amazing. And you know it, and look how well the story did.
Yeah. It may not have caught on as well if it had been horses.
Might not have. Things are much more exciting to imagine about, especially if they're going to eat you. I don't want to imagine a horse trying to eat you. You know?
It's just like that recurring nightmare I have.
Of a horse coming after you. I'm sorry, but you can't outrun a horse. So if it's coming after you, just...
The odds of a horse trying to eat you are low, but they're never zero.
That is fair. I mean, you could say the same as running away and finding a bunch of things out in the woods.
Now, how do you take this? Because the things that Maurice Sendak originally drew, they were based on his aunts and uncles. They were caricaturized versions of his aunt and uncles. Does that change your opinion of the things at all?
No, I just think it makes it all the more great. So, question. The idea that I kind of got with that they did to it in the movie was it seemed like it was almost like an inside out aspect. It kind of seemed like all the different things were like different parts of his emotion. Like you had like the anger, and you had like the sad one and sympathetics. Did you get that vibe too, or was that in my head?
No, I think that was probably intentional, because each of the things was very distinctly leaning into a particular emotion. So,
and I was kind of wondering if at first I thought the female thing that ran away from the group, I kind of felt like that was the embodiment of his sister, because she like found other friends and was like acting different, running away.
well,
So I don't know if she was supposed to be the embodiment of his sister, or if that was just like the sympathetic part of his emotion.
it could go either way.
Yeah.
He was caricaturizing his relatives in that one.
Which I love.
So,
I don't know if I would have admitted that if I was him, though.
well, so speaking of the loud and aggressive thing, did you recognize Catherine O'Hara? It was her voice on the one.
No, I did not. And actually, I meant to look up who the voice actors were, because I always like doing that with movies like that, and I did not.
I only bring that up because my co-host here recommended to me that I should watch a little show called Schitt's Creek from 2015 to 2020.
Such a good TV show.
And Catherine O'Hara plays Moira in that show.
Brilliantly.
So that stuck out to me because I was like, oh, I wonder if she knew who this was.
So she played the one I was just talking about?
Yeah.
Interesting. That didn't sound like her voice to me at all.
Well, she could probably do a bunch of voices.
Yeah. See, she's just so talented. She can do anything.
Anything she wants to do.
But she can't hold on to a son named Kevin.
That's true. That's true.
I do like the commercials that they've done recently where they've tried to like remake that, but it's with Kevin Hart. It amuses me.
So, what have you been reading this week?
I recently finished a book. It's called Tales from the Cafe, and it's the sequel to a book we talked about a while ago, which was Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So I didn't realize there's 4 or 5 of these books in the series. So I'm going to get through all of them. I just got through number 2. So it's the story of like this cafe in Japan where there's a ghost in this cafe, and for like the short amount of time that she leaves this seat, a person can go and sit in her seat, and they can either travel back in time or they can go to the future. So in the second book, there's a couple people who go to the future instead. There's a lot of rules involved. So it was 4 news stories about people either going back in time or into the future to reach out to loved ones. They're talking to a lot of loved ones who passed away this time.
As one does.
Yeah, but I think it's just interesting because this person took this idea, and like I said, they've made like 4 or 5 books, so they just keep coming up with ideas to expand on this idea in this world. And the interesting thing to me is about how the person who's traveling in time, it's about how they change when they come back, because they can't change the past and they can't change the future, but it's like they personally change when they come back. Although, so I wanted to ask you this though, because you spent a lot of time in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was realizing with this book, it seems like in the Japanese culture, they're not, I want to say not as touchy-feely as us, or maybe they don't come out and like, not declare their love, but they don't like show their love with their words as much. And I'm wondering if that's actually accurate, or if I'm just having like all this Western Hollywood movies in my head.
So, I will say that there is a shift going on right now. Traditionally, relationships in Japan, like no PDA whatsoever, and it's not uncommon for married couples to refer to each other as simply husband and wife. Like pet names are a weird sort of thing over there. There is a shift going on with the younger generation sort of embracing more, but no, definitely there's definitely a kind of separation unless you are in sort of total isolation. Like if you are home alone, you can be a little more loose and relaxed with your loved ones, but not even then. It's still very formal, very respectful.
Because it was just interesting, because like I said, a lot of these people are going to talk to their loved ones who passed away. And you would think, like, if there's someone in your life that passed away and you get the chance to talk to them again, like, you would say all this stuff that you couldn't say before, or like you just try to make them feel loved. And there was like this one time where she the lady, he goes back in time, he goes into the future to make sure that she's happy, and she's like very rude with him, and like she's pretending that she's married in order to like help him let go, but she's almost being like rude to him. And then he leaves, and then someone else is like, oh, he knew that what she was doing, and like he knows that she's happy now. And I'm like, how? Like, sorry, that doesn't make sense, but it's also because it doesn't make sense in my head. That was my only problem with the story, was just be nice to your loved ones. When they're alive and when they're dead.
That is a little difficult to explain, but basically if she was trying to put him at ease by lying, then she must be okay, and that would be enough.
Yeah. But. And every relationship's different. Even, like, there's different people who, like, that is the way that they talk to each other, so sad in the moment. So, you reading anything?
Yes. It was a little late for the Christmas season, but I did read Terry Pratchett's Hogfather.
I'm unfamiliar.
So, Hogfather is the 20th novel in the Discworld series. None of them have to be read in any order because there's not that sort of continuity, really. But it features a planet called Discworld, where things work similar to the way they work here on Earth, but also a little different. And,
Okay.
and it is about the group called the Auditors of Reality hiring an assassin to kill their version of Santa, the Hogfather.
Why?
Well, what ends
You
up
like Krampus? Is that why?
no, they feel that he doesn't need to be there anymore, so they want him
Oh,
assassinated.
okay. So let's kill him off. That makes sense.
Well, I won't get into spoilers or anything, but their assassin, Mr. Tea Time, effectively removes the Hogfather Santa Claus figure, and so the literal personification of death has to fill in for that particular Christmas season.
Mr. Tea Time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he does manage to remove the Hogfather Santa Claus, and because the Hogfather is also responsible for the sun rising, Death has to, because Death is a character. Death talks to people and he walks around, and he fills in as Santa for, you know.
And everyone will get a decision, and then they brought the Hogfather back.
Well, you'll have to read it to figure out how it resolves, but it does involve a lot of the pantheon of the Discworld. So.
All right. Not gonna lie, probably not gonna read it, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
They're comedy, sort of satirical novels, really.
Oh, so. Clearly. Assassins, you know. Haha.
Taking out Santa Claus. So let's talk about what is going on at your local library. Would you like to start us off with something?
I would love to. So coming up at the Bedford Branch Library, there's going to be a very bluey celebration on Saturday, February 8th, 2025, from 1 to 3 p.m. You can come on out, and we're going to play some games and enjoy fun activities and crafts. This is perfect for the whole family.
Coming up at the Blue Bush Branch, we have 2 Friday moving nights coming. January 24th from 6 to 8 p.m., they'll be watching Sing. And then on February 21st, 2025, from 6 to 8, they'll be watching Sing 2. Bring the family and come out to the Blue Bush Branch.
I haven't seen Sing 2, but I really like Sing number 1. It's very cute. Very good songs.
I've never seen either one.
Really?
Yeah.
Your kids aren't into it?
I believe all of my children have seen it, but I have managed to miss it.
Like I said, the first one is good. It has good music. It's a cute story. I do recommend it. Also coming up at the Bedford Branch Library, we have 2 different events that are very similar, and I'm excited for both of them. We are going to have a garden planning workshop. That is going to be on Saturday, February 22nd from 1 to 2:30. It is for gardeners of all experience levels. They're invited to come join us for a cozy afternoon of garden planning. Very excited about this, as well as the Native Plant Winter Sowing Workshop. That one will be a little bit sooner on Saturday, January 25th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. And this is going to be a hands-on workshop to create your own winter sowing planters and to learn about winter sowing native plants. I will be attending both because I'm trying really, really hard to have green thumbs. Has not always worked out in the past.
Please hold them up for a moment. Your thumbs. They are not green at this time.
I can go get some markers from the kids' room.
I'm just letting our listeners know that at this time, your thumbs are not green.
Got to bring my Irish out a little more. My bad.
So I would like to let our listeners know that coming up on January 25th, there'll be Saturday afternoon at the movies at the Carlton Branch. That'll be from 1 to 3:30 p.m.
Ooh.
At this time, I have no idea what they are showing. So head on out to Carlton from 1 to 3:30 p.m. on January 25th, 2025.
It's a surprise. Also at the Bedford Branch Library, there will be show and tell. You ever miss show and tell from your childhood days? Oh, you didn't have show and tell growing up, did you?
I was homeschooled.
Could have showed your siblings. Look, this is what I got.
I brought my brother.
Well, this is a show and tell event for all ages. Well, let me specify. It's for 12 years and up. So adults are welcome and encouraged. It'll be on Thursday, March 13th at 4 p.m. If this is a hit, it will turn into a semi-regular event. You can bring an interesting artifact, travel memento, a beloved toy, family heirloom, or something else you would like to share. Be prepared to talk about your item for a few minutes and answer questions from the audience.
Can I bring my brother?
Yes, you can. Well, it doesn't say people.
It says other.
It does say other. So you're going to introduce your brother as other? I say go for it.
Coming up on January 23rd, 2025, at the Ellis Library and Reference Center, we'll be having Paging Through the Civil War Book Club. That will be from 7 to 8 p.m. We are a history book club that focuses on the American Civil War.
Ooh. Well, our annual blues series is coming back, and the Brothers Groove will be at the Bedford Branch Library on Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, at 7 p.m. So come on out and hear some good blues music.
Do you have a favorite blues song?
No. All the blues songs are magical and wonderful.
That's a cop-out answer right there.
You know what? I haven't listened to a lot of blues, but now I have the perfect opportunity since the blues series has started up again. So ask me at the end of our blues series, and I'll have one for you.
I don't know if it technically counts as blues, but it's called blues. But I love Vangelis's The Blade Runner Blues.
Can I get away with saying I love this music from the Blues Brothers?
Maybe.
Well, then yours is a maybe as well. And last up at the Bedford Branch Library is the Higa, running January 21st to January 22nd. Oh, I apologize.
It's pronounced Haiji.
So I'm not sure how it is pronounced because we have it listed as, the Danish say it as Huga, but Disney taught me with the stage production of Frozen that it's pronounced the Higa. So I'm not sure if it's different depending on where you're from.
It's
or
pronounced Haig.
Haig. Every time we'll say it a different way. No matter what it's called, it is running from January 21st to January 26th at the Bedford Branch Library. You can come to the library and snuggle up near the fireplace with a good book, a warm beverage, and a relaxing craft. So come on out. Last year it was really cute. We did have a bunch of craft items out by the fireplace, and
It's pronounced Haiji.
the Hieg. The Hige? Higa. I don't know. Come out to the Higa. Higa, 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 Higa. That's a real song from Frozen Musical.
I'm slightly terrified at this time. And I would like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. If you have any thoughts on where the wild things are or anything else we've discussed on this podcast, please leave a comment down below. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that ring bell for notifications. I have learned this script from another podcaster. Could you tell?
I can.
Fantastic.
Before we're done, if you had one thing that you found, the wild thing, what would its name be?
My wild thing?
Yeah.
Wild thing.
Wild thing. All right, well, it's a cop-out, but I'll take it.
Sorry, I'm basic.
Thanks for joining us today.
What would your wild thing be?
Stephanie. She's a wild thing.
All right. So we thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on In the Library with
Tara.
and Adrian. Did my warm read come across?
Yeah.
Does it sound like a warm read?
Sounded
Fantastic.
great. It was wonderful.